Welcome to Veterans Voice again. You know what we do right now. We put veterans in the front and centre, give us a bit of lowdown on how they got on in the military and how they transitioned out and what they do now. A bit of advice, hopefully, for you people leaving the armed forces. So this week, my guest is Mark Lindahl from Bridgeway Consulting. So hi, Mark. How are you doing?
Not so bad, thank you, Matt. Good evening, all.
Yeah. So. Just a quick one. Pop any comments you've got in the chat, and we'll bring them up and address them. Before we go anywhere, we've just got to clear something up. How did you wake up in another country, a different country to the one you went to sleep in? I understand. Oh, I think we've frozen. You've been ventriloquism act, have a go.
Maybe always didn't know when to stop drinking. Not that I'm overly much better now, but to be honest, by all accounts, we had quite a skinful.
No, we've lost him. Oh no! Jump back in, Mark. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, interesting one. So Mark started off with the power. Here he comes. I'll let him tell you.
Hello.
Welcome back, Mark. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're back in the room. Right. I think I must be married to this computer because it interrupted me. Right. So by all accounts, we had 1 or 2 beers of a Sunday afternoon. Post tour leave. Had a couple more, and then somebody suggested we go on holiday, but because we'd had quite a few beers, that involved going back to the block, getting our passports, jumping on a train, going to the airport, and getting on the first plane that we could get onto, which happened to be to Mallorca. Woke up the next day, not really sure where we were, just that it was scorching hot, in nothing but a pair of trainers, shorts, t-shirt, passport, and wallet. Nowhere to stay, with a return ticket for a week later. It's quite a good bender, to be honest, but it's not one that I'd necessarily recommend you do week in, week out.
But you don't remember actually buying the tickets and getting on the plane. You just woke up in.
No. Yeah, no, not so. And then we came up with the genius idea, to be fair, that we all bought 2 sets of clothes each and just swapped the clothes during the week, so we didn't have to buy wardrobes.
Well, have you read Jeremy Clarkson's autobiography?
No.
Right, so he's, because they Top Gear went abroad quite a lot. He said to master the art of packing very minimalistically, take 1 pair of underpants will last you 4 days. Right way back to front, out the right way, and inside out back to front. Not sure I really want to go down that route, but
fairness, don't worry.
Washing machines are available in other countries. So it gives a bit of a background into your military career.
Okay, a couple of cap badges, short but sweet stay with Royal Marines, which was a lot shorter than I expected to. That's a long one for when we've got some more beers. Followed by my main career with the Royal Engineers. As we sort of chatted about before, that I'd love to say that was a well thought out plan, but it wasn't. My dad's ex-Para-Reg, so I went to the careers office to join Para-Reg. 10 GCSEs and 2 A-levels, so they steered me elsewhere. I had a friend who was in the engineers, so it was as simple as that, to be honest. I didn't know a lot about it. It was just that at 18, 19 years old, being 6'2" and aggressive, I didn't know where else to go.
Yeah. So, but however, once always a Marine. So our friend Zoe, as told in the past, Zoe was a guest here on voice number 4, I think, Zoe Garber. So you're off to Bootlegs to Business in a few days' time, anyway, aren't you?
Sorry, Mike. Can you say again? I'm just you're breaking in and out. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you fine. Yeah, you're off to Bootlegs into Business in a couple of days' time.
Right. Okay. Ben, I wonder if the kids are streaming. No, I don't think they are. Right, it's better now.
It's the way sometimes I've had a hotspot from my mobile phone if I've had people streaming. I mean, digs while I work away from the moment. So yeah, I think. Anyway, so you did a bit of a bit of Marines, and then you went into the Royal Engineers. What did you do in the with Sappers?
Yes.
I think it's going to be me. Let me just
I did a design trade assessment.
That was my
Right, stop streaming.
Just bear with me. I think it is.
Sorry, that was me. The kids agreed for all having something on Wi-Fi.
Right, how's that? Is that any better?
Yep, I can hear you now.
I'm streaming from that now. So there we go. So welcome to Dan for a start. Say hi. So yeah, Dan says my fault.
Daniel, all right?
Yeah, Dan was a guest a few weeks back.
As I said, I did the design trades assessment. Are we still on?
Yeah, I think just try hotspotting off your mobile phone. It's I've got your network connection is showing about 70% at the moment. It's we have these technical problems every now and again. So just are you able to stream off your phone?
I've got you perfect now.
Oh yeah, right, jolly good. Don't move. We have to stand like that. Remember the old days you used to have to hold the aerial?
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, so I did something called the design trades assessment. I was going to be a surveyor.
That's right. So while he's off disconnecting his kids from the Xbox.
Right,
if you've got any comments,
to teenage girls and
that's all right. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I do apologise. It's for anybody who's listening. I've got 4 daughters ranging from 18 to 7, and they all can't live without a screen or streaming something, which then interrupts everybody else's stuff. So I do apologise.
Yeah.
Right, drop back in. Yeah, so I was sent on something called a design trades assessment. I was going to be a surveyor, and realised that I wasn't overly good at surveying, and I didn't really like it. And then they offered me the dirty side of life, stood next to a drilling rig, and doing testing and building stuff. So yeah, that seemed the place for me. Again, not a well thought out plan, but it's worked out not too bad.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean it's set you up for where you are now because you're still in the sort of the construction industry, which we'll come on to a little bit later. So, so what made you decide to leave?
I was coming up on 30, middle-aged. Now, from a tour point of view, from ops, it was good because I hit the golden spot. So I got Bosnia, Kosovo, Macedonia. I got Northern Ireland, the buffer zone in Cyprus, and I got the first tour of Afghan, and I got the first tour of Iraq. Interspersed with other jobs. I think my record was about 14 countries in 1 year. But I was coming up to 30. Knees weren't quite as good as they used to be, as with a lot of people, and I had to decide whether to stay for a full time or whether to leave. My first daughter was born, which for anybody who's pulled green card knows that sort of feeling. All of a sudden, there's something else to think about. So I made the decision at 30. It was a boom time. Put my CV on a website. I got 5 interviews straight away. So I put my notice in and left.
Was it a full year, or did you? Yeah. So
yeah. No, it was.
It's a good job.
Yeah, it was a full year.
Medals across the way.
Yeah, it was a full year, and they made me. I was an instructor, and I took my last lesson in civvies on my last afternoon after I'd dekitted. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but, it's still doing good steady. Stayed in the same sort of industry, and you have the skill, which is great. So, what you did, you found you had this something you enjoyed in the military. You were able to transfer it into Civvy Street. How easy was the transition into Civvy Street?
Not that easy. I've spoken about this on a couple of other things, and to be honest, that's another reason why I do quite a lot of the stuff that I do. Really struggled. I made somebody cry on my first morning in an office because I'd come from being an instructor and was used to people doing exactly as I told them to do when I told them to do it. I was only 7 weeks removed from Iraq. So it was difficult. I was told I was like a bear with a sore head, and I was horrible to be around for the first 6 months. And I had to rapidly change.
And how easy was that change? Did you just take yourself outside and give yourself a slap, or was a bit more to it?
I mean, a couple of times, yeah. It's always good to give yourself a slap now and again. But it's no. I had to chat with somebody else who'd gone through and a couple of things, and I was disappointed in myself. Obviously, right away from the word go, I was taught to be that the first ones to adapt, first ones to change, and things like that. I forgot that. I just tried to carry on as before, couldn't, and then got told, at one point you were a civvy. Before you ever put a Greek on, you were a civvy. You've got to relearn how to do it. My boss had a good chat with me to change my vocabulary back through. It can flick backwards and forwards. As I said, I'm lucky. I was a booty and I was a stock soldier, so I'm bilingual. I could speak Jack speak, I could speak Pongo. Dan Earp Jones is on here. I could speak Hobbit for him. It's I could do it pretty much all. It's but it's I had to learn how to speak Civvy again, and I had to learn that not everybody was the same as us. The world wasn't going to mold around me. I had to change and fit back in with the world, and it took some time.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting point. We discussed a little bit about this yesterday. You had the skills. You went into an industry that was similar to one that you've come from in the military. So you had the knowledge, and you didn't really have to train up absolutely loads, but it was a different environment, a different cultural environment, and that's where you had to draw on your resources and adapt.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I was lucky as well that I was doing what I was doing. I was doing it in rail. Now, the rail industry is second only to the military for pointless rules, regulations, and acronyms, everything like that. So, and there's quite a lot of ex-military in rail, so that made life a lot easier. You kept bumping into people, as most people know. Troop T-shirts on all the time underneath your PP or a squadron jumper or something like that. It was. You'd bump into people then, and it would be. Then you got the chat with the people that and that made life a little bit easier.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Chris makes an interesting point here in terms of, sort of I didn't go through CTP. I left after a couple of years and literally got a little bag of gold, and that was it. Cheerio. But sort of Chris makes the point about the coaching from a cultural perspective. Because it is a different culture, and this is why I do the reason I do some of the things I do is because people need help when they go from one culture to another. I spent a couple of years working in Korea. It's a different culture, and you have to adapt to it. And it's you that has to adapt because everyone else is normal.
Yeah, completely. And I'd say everything's changed considerably since I left. It's a long time. It's 18 years since I've been out. CTP at the time, I did one workshop with them for a CV. My CV was awful. It was 7 pages long. It detailed everything I'd done, I think, since I first potty trained. I think that was quite a good idea. I think people fell asleep reading my CV. I was lucky it was boom time. But I got an interview, did my normal. But the interview went on longer. It was interesting because I kept using a language they didn't understand. And what I've tried to do now, I've done it this week for a guy who's leaving the engineers. He's passed me his CV, and I've tried to write it so Civdiv know what he can do. It doesn't take very long, and it's probably I'm not professional. There's a lot better people like John Stevenson out there who's an absolute ninja with it. Trish, everybody like that. They're professionals. What they do.
Have you spoken with Trish?
I've not. No.
Trish is lovely. Yeah, she's really nice.
She certainly seems to. We've had a couple of messages here and there on LinkedIn, and I see what she does for other guys and girls, and full of admiration for her. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know whether she usually joins us, but sometimes it coincides. But I expected, because she lives in Northern Ireland, quite a harsh Northern Ireland accent, soft Glaswegian accent. She's a Ouija. So yeah, lovely girl. So yeah,
that's not two words you get together, is it? Soft and Glaswegian normally.
No, not normally. No.
There's one for Kirky.
Yeah. So how did you get the role you're in now? Because that wasn't the first role that you went into.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. I had to prove what I could do to start with. I got a job in rail because they offered me £1 grand more a year than anybody else, and I was mercenary about it. I needed to pay bills, but it was still a wage drop. In fairness, the wage drop lasted 6 weeks, and I was promoted, and then I was promoted again. After that military connection, that I was based in Nottingham, but working out of York, which was a hell of a commute when I was in the office by car. I got another. Just see Chris's comment. So I got a job closer in Nottingham for that. They kindly put me through a degree. Applied the normal things that we do, just knuckle down, get it done. And then got headhunted for this one. It was at a wedding. The MD of Bridgeway was there. It was his niece's wedding, who was on secondment to me. There's a free bar. You could see a theme with going to Mallorca. I drank way too much and woke up the next day with a new job. But it's worked out.
So if you need something from Mark, feed him what? Beer or cider or what?
To be honest, anything with a percentage to it. Tried to steer me away from whiskey because I get disagreeable. But everything else, I'm jovial and a happy drunk. And yeah.
Yeah. So you got into that. And how long have you been with Bridgeway now?
13 years this week.
13 years. And they are hiring, aren't they? So
completely, yeah.
With a lot of engineering. Sorry, a lot of engineering companies about looking for people.
It does, and I'm not just after engineers. The last 2 guys I took on are ex-Mercian regiments. They're great lads, really good lads. We can train people. I've got 5 ex-instructors within my team, 7 across the business. We're a rail training provider. We're a gold standard rail training provider. We can train people to do the jobs. As we said earlier, I'm going to go down and see Mr. Foley tomorrow night with Bootnecks into business in London tomorrow. To try and get some of those guys, I need examiners, people who could climb a rope. We've all climbed quite a few ropes in a time, I promise. It wants a good going back and doing it at 38. Apparently, I wasn't as good as I was when I was 17 and 18, but drag my ass up there. Right the way up to I need PMs as well. We need, as a business, we're growing. We're going out the top of the SME band, and it's great. It's great, and I want people who are a known quantity.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about military leavers is you've got a number of you might not have the technical skills, but you can teach the technical skills. What you can't teach are the ethics, the motivation, the discipline, the work ethic. So if you've got that, you can mold the rest.
Absolutely spot on. Yeah.
Right. So Chris is off now. He's popped in. He's hurled abuse at you.
And, he's in Glasgow. He's off for quite a dog fast. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, Chris.
Yeah. Cheers, Chris. Thanks for dropping in. And your Bridgeway is a company that holds the Armed Forces Covenant, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, we're Gold Award members. It's
sorry, what you're?
We're Gold Award members.
Gold. I was waiting.
Yeah, we it took us a couple of goes, but after that, I did we redid the submission. We changed one of our policies, which was the thing that was sticking us, and they awarded us gold 2 years ago. It was. It's Mr. Wade's typing in now. He's a Nottingham.
He's been lurking.
Yeah, he had to go up north.
I can tell. Yeah,
he was kicked out of Clifton and he's had to go to Newcastle. So
Yeah. I had a
He's
nice,
all
I
right.
had a nice chat with him the other day. Actually, he was in a
He's a good
pub.
lad.
He was in
Sorry?
a pub, and he was in a pub, hotspotting off the pub's Wi-Fi, and we had a chat.
The last chat I had with him was in my kitchen. He popped round with a mug for me. So while he was coming back down to civilization for a bit to have a couple of beers in God's country.
Was that a Gen Dip mug?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
right, like the one that's behind you.
Merch, isn't it? Hang on a minute. One of them.
One of those ones, yeah.
Chris Kirk isn't there anymore, so we can say that the Gen Dip mug is a mug for holding brews, not wets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't speak easy. I'm on the metro this time, gents.
On metro.
Yeah. Should you be in the dark, Rich? You tag
So gold holders, the Armed Forces Covenant. You've got plenty of roles that you're looking for, and sort of. Are you happy to conduct interviews on Zoom, anything like that? How do they get in contact with you?
Yeah. Normally either a Zoom thing or a Teams meeting. We do that. We have an initial chat. We find out if you're right for us and we're right for you, because it's got to be a fit both ways. If we're not, you know what? Quite often, if people aren't right or we're not what they're looking for, we'll recommend them to other people that we know. That's part of what we do. It's not a competition in that sense. It's not jealousy. It's just trying to help out. If you come work for us, brilliant, because we want you. But actually, if we find out we're not for you, then there's no point trying to square peg into a round hole.
Absolutely, and it's you've got some great opportunities. A lot of people watch this not necessarily live, but they watch it on catch up because it does go out a bit of a funny time. But we're aiming at getting it to veterans who or military leaders who can't normally get to the internet during the day. So people do tend to stream this later, and a lot of people do say they catch it on catch up. So literally get hold of Mark and Bridgeway talk to the website and go for it. We're 25 minutes in now. So, sorry. Oh, we've frozen again. What's happened is that he's gone quiet in there, so we'll fire up the Xbox again. So we had a really quite a lengthy chat about what your advice would be to people leaving the armed forces. There's some quite interesting points you drew out. So what would you be your veterans voice message to people leaving the armed forces?
For me is leave your rank when you leave there. That doesn't necessarily mean you could do the same thing when you come out. I always liken it. I didn't join. I left as a full screw, picked up for a sergeant. I didn't join as a full screw. I could do that job. Sometimes you might not be able to. But what we will do is bring you in at a level that you can do. I train you to do the next level. And I have a saying that I believe in all the way through. It's worked for me since I left. If you work hard, good things happen to you. It's as simple as that. It's hard work. It's doing what you do now in a different environment and just applying what you already know. It's nothing different, and the rewards will come. They will come.
And it's really important to use the Veterans Network and groups like the Gen Dip Network, because there are a lot of people there. Nobody would turn down a veteran for a military leaver to give advice. Everybody will give advice, and willingly. It's not blind. Generally, we want to see people land on their feet when they leave the armed forces. And
completely. It's probably when I first spoke to Chris Kirk when we first sort of connected. I said it's the best community that you could possibly belong to. I genuinely believe it. People will go out of the way when they don't know you to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you have a common bond, and it doesn't matter where it was. You don't have to be a booter. You don't have to be a sapper. You don't have to be a matlow. All right, like I said before, we'll push it without the RAF, but to be honest, we kind of was getting a holiday in.
I was going to say, I even helped to fish everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not always allowed in those establishments. They kick us out before we get to the door.
Yeah,
but we try.
I mean,
we try.
Yeah, it's really important because one thing in that you mentioned it earlier on is there's a loyalty there to the armed forces, but there's also a loyalty to each other. And I'm reading Robin Horsfall's book at the moment, which is really interesting. Well worth a read.
Yeah, I've read it. Yeah,
that's a really interesting book. But there is a loyalty to each other, and that goes right through to your retirement and beyond. I think retirement from the armed forces, retirement from work. So take advantage of it, but make use of it.
You use it. It's a tool the same as anything else. So I say to everybody else, if I'd not done what I'd done, I could have ended up in real trouble. And you know what? The amount of people that were in both my training parties when I went through basic, there was loads of people exactly the same way. It wasn't that they were inherently bad. It was just the fact you needed a focus. You needed somebody to give you the discipline that you needed and channel it towards doing something good. And it worked. And it genuinely gave me more than I can ever give it back. So we do what we can.
Indeed. So I think we're losing it. I think what we'll do, Mark, is we'll stop it there because we're sort of losing the signal again. But we're only a few minutes off our half hour. I like to keep it half hour because people's attention span will
no problem.
Then wander onto it's the World Cup. We're completely the World Cup.
Right, completely.
But
to be honest, I can't compete. I can't compete against a footballer. I've got a face for radio and a voice for silent film, so it's not exactly the right way.
Yeah. But all I say is thank you very much, Mark, for joining us.
Very well.
Across
Thank you for having me.
And if you're looking for work coming out, then get in touch with Mark and we'll put you in the right way.
Completely. Look, anybody who wants to, but feel free, give me a shout. It's I'm always there.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mark. And
no worries.
Thank you, Mark. To those of you watching, thank you very much for pitching in. And Richard, hope your train journey goes okay. And thank you very much, everybody. If you like it and tell your mates. If you don't like it anyway and don't tell your mates. And thank you very much, everybody, and good night.